Welcome to the Civic Search Update for June 3rd, 2024 on cycling. Bicycle usage has surged since the pandemic, increasing by 37% overall in the United States and nearly doubling in large cities like New York. But there's a lot of room for improvement. According to the US Census, the only commuting method less used than buses in the United States is biking, with only 0.5% of workers aged 16 or over regularly partaking. With bicycling come economic, environmental, and health benefits. Communities are therefore looking to make biking safer and more accessible for residents, in part citing the belief that if you build it, they will come. City councils are making investments toward bike infrastructure, sharing systems, events, and e-bikes, to name a few. Though these efforts have met with pushback, notably from residents who find the costs or the risk to the availability of car parking unacceptably high. Join us for the 9th edition of the Civic Search newsletter, where we'll cruise through tens of thousands of hours of government meetings from Lethbridge, Alberta, New Bern, North Carolina, and other cities in the United States and Canada. As in our previous updates, we hope to take you beyond national headlines to give you a bird's eye view of the latest local government trends pertaining to cycling. First section, Community Proclamations. According to the League of American Bicyclists, May was National Bike Month, giving cities a convenient excuse to read from largely the same script. Hutchinson, Kansas, Temecula, California, and Norman, Oklahoma have all indulged in the monthly proclamations of bike solidarity. As part of these proclamations, some cities, like Riverbank, California, have instituted Bike to Work Week. Pacifica, in the same state, has changed this to Bike to Wherever Days, allowing grocery shoppers and other errand runners to participate as well.
It is also my hope that in the future we don't need a proclamation like this, that bicycle and pedestrian safety will just be 100% built into the culture of our society.
That was Jennifer speaking, a resident of month-declaring Kenmore, Washington. Next section, bike rodeos, bike exchanges, and bike buses. Students have increasingly become fixtures of biking events. In bike rodeos, kids practice in a closed course by signaling left turns, yielding to fake pedestrians, and dodging rocks. North Glen, Colorado hosts rodeos regularly, and New Bern, North Carolina gives away free bike helmets during these. And here's an image of a basketball court with kids and adults on it. The kids are wearing helmets, they're practicing riding bikes while the adults are supervising. Cones, ramps, and a cardboard cutout of a distracted driver form a makeshift course. And the kid in the foreground is wearing a black sweatshirt and a blue mask. The caption reads, "A bike rodeo in Solano County, California," and the source of this image is Solano Safe Routes to School. And now back to the article. Meanwhile, Palo Alto, California is planning a summer bike exchange, where students will help donate 800 bikes and fix 400 more. One of the larger student events is called the Bike Bus. Kids bike to school in a group, usually under the guidance and supervision of parents and teachers. Salem, Oregon started such a program last month, while Montclair, New Jersey has been hosting theirs for a year. According to Jessica Tillier, the founder of Montclair's program, 300 children participate every Friday. And here's another Montclair resident speaking of the bike bus.
These kids are so cute. They are singing the songs they learn in chorus as they go, ringing their bells, discussing their Halloween costumes. This is peak childhood, and it is such a joy to see.
And here's another image to close out the section. It's a road filled with students, parents, and teachers riding bikes. Some adults are wearing a reflective vest, and everyone, adults and kids alike, are wearing a helmet. And the caption reads, "The Alameda Elementary School Bike Bus in Portland, Oregon. More than 100 students participate every Wednesday." And the source of this image is Bike Portland. Next section, cycling infrastructure. None of these events would be possible if there were no places to park the bikes and nowhere to ride them, so several cities are focused on adding cycling infrastructure. For example, Richmond, British Columbia is building bike storage and maintenance facilities, and Jersey City, New Jersey is installing more bike racks. Meanwhile, Norman, Oklahoma is widening roads and adding off-street bike paths, while East Point, Michigan is adding protected bike lanes and considering putting those lanes next to the median. Palo Alto, California is one city that's thinking very hard about what it wants its future to look like. The city is proposing curb extensions, tighter turning radii, bike ramps, bike refuge islands, and high-visibility lane markings. One new residential project in Palo Alto, which will include 44 bike lockers, 4 short-term bike spots, and 5 shared e-bikes, has come up frequently. The proposal calls for replacing some of the street parking with bike lanes. One resident supported this decision, saying that this would improve bike accessibility for people of all ages. A city planner also noted that more separation between bikers and car drivers leads to less stress for bikers. However, there are concerns that the new bike lanes would interfere with trash collection because the lanes would go where the trash bins would have gone. One proposed solution would be to put the bins somewhere else, along a different street, for example. Next section, car concerns. Keith Reckdahl, the vice chair of the Palo Alto Planning and Transportation Commission, raised a concern about removing car parking. Where would the cars go? And here's Reckdahl.
But Palo Alto still is car-centric. Maybe in 10 years it won't be, but right now it's still car-centric, that even people who bike to work still have a car for weekends. Because if you wanted to go to San Francisco, it's much harder to do that without a car.
But Reckdahl suggested that he would be satisfied if the housing project, which is targeted toward low to middle income residents, put effort into, quote, attracting the people who don't have cars, not cheapskates who don't want to pay for parking, end quote. Lethbridge, Alberta is grappling with similar car-related tensions as it adds bike lanes.
When I first moved here in the 80s, Lethbridge had nice wide streets that are like nostrils. The city could breathe. And the way things are now, it's like a nightmare trying to drive downtown.
That was resident Sachi speaking. One resident worried about what bike lanes might do to businesses. Another argued that protected bike lanes would actually improve business. And here's the pro-bike lane speaker speaking.
To me, I see this as both a way for people to safely have an opportunity to get around the city, but also a way to improve the resiliency and the vibrancy of our downtown. I think when you picture a place that you want to spend time in, most people aren't going to be picturing a parking lot or a loud road or something like that. You know, your picturesque, vibrant downtown.
And here's an image that shows different types of bike lanes, from least comfortable to most comfortable, from left to right. The first section is called shared lanes, and that includes shared lane markings and bus lane. The second section is conventional bike lanes, and that includes bike lane and buffered bike lane. And the third section is separated bike lanes, which includes quick build and full build. And quick build is where a few poles divide the bike lane from the street, and full build is where a full concrete strip divides the bike lane from the street. And the last section is called traffic-calmed low-volume streets. And the image is captioned, Boston, Massachusetts is considering a range of bike lanes, each offering different amounts of safety and convenience, and each requiring a different footprint. And the source of this image is the city of Boston. Back to the article. Montclair, home of the 300-strong bike bus, is pushing for lower speed limits, 20 miles per hour in town and 15 around schools. Here's bike bus volunteer John.
And when school congestion clears out, people tend to drive way too fast. I frequently see cars doing faster than 50 miles an hour. I've been overtaken on that street.
And here's another bike bus volunteer.
Say that my impression here is that car rules. We have countless stories of people that would like to take their bikes. I'm going door to door to find more pupils to go to Watchung with us. They just don't feel safe doing it. They're not prepared to do it. We have stories of people being also honked at because they use the road, or they put themselves at jeopardy going too close to the curb or too close to the parked cars, because there is a pressure of the car behind willing to pass and making it felt. The law says that we should...
Next section, e-bikes. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, residents have noted that electric bikes can make biking more accessible for people of all ages and abilities. Here's veteran and Albuquerque resident Mark speaking.
I've got injured shoulders and I'm missing a limb. So without assist, we really wouldn't be able to ride and do a lot of the stuff we do. So electric bikes are sort of a tool for us to overcome the barriers that we encounter in life.
And here's another Albuquerque resident who talks about her 2 kids.
And I would be really disappointed if they were limited to using their e-bikes only for getting to their school activities and weren't allowed to ride them on the trails. The bikes can't go more than 20 miles an hour. And
this resident was referring to the ordinances that the public forum was being held for. one that would restrict e-bike speeds in rideable locations. The speed criticisms mirror those levied against cars.
I urge you to lower the posted speed limit to 15 miles per hour on all the multi-use paved trails where this is being considered. The overriding consideration should still be for the safety and enjoyment of all users of our multi-use paved trails.
That's Albuquerque resident Ralph speaking. Similar concerns were present in Palo Alto. Here's resident and bird picture taker Sheila.
The way I inevitably know when a bike is an electric bike, it's because they're pretty much always going too fast. When one zooms by me, I look and it's always an e-bike. I've even had to yank my little tripod out of the way, and I'm not blocking the entire path or anything. But
back in Albuquerque, another resident argued that the overwhelming majority of e-bikers ride at a reasonable speed, and that instead of spending on speed limit signs, the city should put money toward filling the cracks in the trails. In Kenmore, Washington, there were fewer than 13 bike collisions in 2023, fewer than 6 of which involved an e-bike. Some cities are riding on e-bikes becoming a major part of the transportation network. North Glen, Colorado is trying out an e-bike scholarship program for low-income residents, and Evanston, Illinois is piloting an e-bike share program. Next section, bike sharing. Speaking of bike share programs, there are more than 50 public bike share systems in the US and 7 in Canada, with more coming online every year. On Civic Search, we can find several other towns weighing the idea. Palo Alto has proposed a bike rental system in a transit-rich area, and East Point, Michigan intends to pursue a bike share program after adding better bike lanes. Meanwhile, in New Bern, North Carolina, the city shut down the idea, saying that the town just doesn't have the roads and paths for it. Here's a member of the New Bern Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee.
You take a large city like Raleigh, and the board sits down and says, oh yeah, we'll put $2 million toward that project. The city of New Bern's not going to do that.
Right.
Because they don't have that resource.
So what about Raleigh? With Civic Search, we can see that since 2019, Raleigh's bike share network has seen 171,000 trips, totaling 435,700 miles. And here's an image. It shows a bike share system with a row of bikes sitting in front of a colorful wall mural. And the caption reads, "A bike share system in Toronto, Ontario." The source of the image is Urban Toronto. Next section. Who will come? If you build it, they will come. This is the idea in Palo Alto. This is also the idea in Montclair. Here's Drury, a Montclair teacher.
And it's called induced demand. We are building it as the bike bus. They are coming. And so now
this too is the idea in Kenmore. Here's resident Jennifer.
But we know that we don't build bridges because we see people swimming over rivers. We build bridges because we need them. We build bike lanes because we need them, and people will use them. And
this
that
is not the idea in New Bern. When the city's Bike and Pedestrian Advisory Committee discussed bike sharing, one member mused aloud,
"It's sort of a chicken or egg question, though. Which drives the infrastructure?"
To which another member responded,
"Well, the money drives the infrastructure."
One of the things that we've always done across is...
But the future of driving and biking looks like in cities across the United States and Canada may very well depend on which of these two visions council members buy into. Thanks for listening. Consider subscribing to us on whatever platform you're listening to this on for more episodes like these. Research, writing, recording, and audio production are by Yuan Lee. Music is Insiders by Joe Crotty, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 Unported. Thumbnail art is by Quill Sang. Civic Search was created and is maintained by Doug Bieferman. Civic Search is a tool that sifts through tens of thousands of hours of government meetings from, as of this recording, 627 towns and cities. Enter a topic to see what communities across the United States and Canada are doing about it, and filter by zip code, city, or month to dig deep into a particular place or time. Set up automatic alerts to have new meetings delivered right to your inbox. The original article version of this episode can be found at civicsearch.org/feature/cycling. Thanks again for listening, and have a wonderful day.